Hello. Welcome back to our next episode where we continue to read through the Player's Handbook classes descriptions. Next up, the Ranger. Rough and wild-looking, a human stalks alone through the shadows of trees, hunting the orcs he knows are planning a raid on a nearby farm. Clutching a short sword in each hand, he becomes a whirlwind of steel, cutting down one enemy after another. After tumbling away from a cone of freezing air, an elf finds her feet and draws back her bow to loose an arrow at the white dragon. Shrugging off the wave of fear that emanates from the dragon like the cold of its breath, she sends one arrow after another to find the gaps between the dragon's thick scales. Holding his hand high, a half-elf whistles to the hawk that circles high above him, calling the bird back to his side. Whispering instructions in Elvish, he points to the owlbear he's been tracking and sends the hawk to distract the creature while he readies his bow. Far from the bustle of cities and towns, past the hedges that shelter the most distant farms from the terrors of the wild, amid the dense-packed trees of trackless forests, and across wide and empty plains, rangers keep their unending watch. Deadly Hunters. Warriors of the wilderness, rangers specialize in hunting the monsters that threaten the edges of civilization. Humanoid raiders, rampaging beasts, and monstrosities, terrible giants, and deadly dragons. They learn to track their quarry as a predator does, moving stealthily through the wilds and hiding themselves in brush and rubble. Rangers focus their combat training on techniques that are particularly useful against their specific favored foes. Thanks to their familiarity with the wilds, rangers acquire the ability to cast spells that harness nature's power, much as a druid does. Their spells, like their combat abilities, emphasize speed, stealth, and the hunt. A ranger's talents and abilities are honed with deadly focus on the grim task of protecting the borderlands. Independent adventurers. Though a ranger might make a living as a hunter, a guide, or a tracker, a ranger's true calling is to defend the outskirts of civilization from the ravages of monsters and humanoid hordes that press in from the wild. In some places, rangers gather in secretive orders or join forces with druidic circles. Many rangers, though, are independent, almost to a fault, knowing that when a dragon or a band of orcs attacks, a ranger might be the first, and possibly last, line of defense. This fierce independence makes rangers well suited to adventuring, since they are accustomed to life far from the comforts of a dry bed and a hot bath. Faced with city-bred adventurers who grouse and whine about the hardships of the wild, rangers respond with some mixture of amusement, frustration, and compassion. But they quickly learn that other adventurers who can carry their own weight in a fight against civilization's foes are worth any extra burden. Coddled city folk might not know how to feed themselves or find fresh water in the wild, but they make up for it in other ways. Creating a ranger. As you create your ranger character, consider the nature of the training that gave you your particular capabilities. Did you train with a single mentor, wandering the wilds together until you mastered the ranger's ways? Did you leave your apprenticeship, or was your mentor slain, perhaps by the same kind of monster that became your favorite enemy? Or perhaps you learn your skills as part of a band of rangers affiliated with a druidic circle, trained in mystic paths as well as wilderness lore. You might be self-taught, a recluse who learned combat skills, tracking, and even a magical connection to nature through the necessity of surviving in the wilds. What's the source of your particular hatred of a certain kind of enemy? Did a monster kill someone you loved, or destroy your home village? Or did you see too much of the destruction these monsters cause and commit yourself to reining in their depredations? Is your adventuring career a continuation of your work in protecting the borderlands, or a significant change? What made you join up with a band of adventurers? Do you find it challenging to teach new allies the ways of the wild, or do you welcome the relief from solitude that they offer? Class features. Favored enemy. Beginning at first level, you have significant experience studying, tracking, hunting, and even talking to a certain type of enemy. Choose a type of favored enemy. Aberrations, beasts, celestials, constructs, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, giants, monstrosities, oozes, plants, or undead. Alternatively, you can select 2 races of humanoid, such as gnolls and orcs, as favored enemies. You have advantage on wisdom survival checks to track your favorite enemies, as well as on intelligence checks to recall information about them. When you gain this feature, you also learn 1 language of your choice that is spoken by your favorite enemies, if they speak one at all. You choose 1 additional favorite enemy, as well as an associated language at 6th and 14th level. As you gain levels, your choices should reflect the types of monsters you have encountered on your adventures. Natural Explorer. You are particularly familiar with 1 type of natural environment and are adept at traveling and surviving in such regions. Choose 1 type of favored terrain: Arctic, coast, desert, forest, grassland, mountain, swamp, or the Underdark. When you make an intelligence or wisdom check related to your favorite terrain, your proficiency bonus is doubled if you are using a skill that you're proficient in. While traveling for an hour or more in your favorite terrain, you gain the following benefits. Difficult terrain doesn't slow your group's travel. Your group can't become lost except by magical means. Even when you are engaged in another activity while traveling, such as foraging, navigating, or tracking, you remain alert to danger. If you are traveling alone, you can move stealthily at a normal pace. When you forage, you find twice as much food as you normally would. While tracking other creatures, you also learn their exact number, their sizes, and how long ago they passed through the area. You choose additional favored terrain types at 6th and 10th level. Fighting style. At 2nd level, you adopt a particular style of fighting as your specialty. Choose 1 of the following options. You can't take a fighting style option more than once, even if you later get to choose again. Archery. You gain a +2 bonus to attack rolls you make with ranged weapons. Defense. While you are wearing armor, you gain a +1 bonus to AC. Dueling. When you are wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons, you gain a +2 bonus to damage rolls with that weapon. 2-weapon fighting. When you engage in 2-weapon fighting, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the second attack. Spellcasting. By the time you reach 2nd level, you have learned to use the magical essence of nature to cast spells, much as a druid does. See Chapter 10 for the general rules of spellcasting, and Chapter 11 for the ranger spell list. Spell slots. The ranger table shows how many spell slots you have to cast your ranger spells of 1st level and higher. To cast one of these spells, you must expend a slot of the spell's level or higher. You regain all expended spell slots when you finish a long rest. For example, if you know the 1st level spell, Animal Friendship, and have a 1st level and a 2nd level spell slot available, you can cast Animal Friendship using either slot. Spells known of 1st level and higher. You know 2 1st level spells of your choice from the Ranger spell list. The spells known column of the Ranger table shows when you learn more Ranger spells of your choice. Each of these spells must be of a level for which you have spell slots. For instance, when you reach 5th level in this class, you can learn 1 new spell of 1st or 2nd level. Additionally, when you gain a level in this class, you can choose one of the ranger spells you know and replace it with another spell from the ranger spell list, which also must be of a level for which you have spell slots. Spellcasting ability. Wisdom is your spellcasting ability for your ranger spells, since your magic draws on your attunement to nature. You use your wisdom whenever a spell refers to your spellcasting ability. In addition, you use your wisdom modifier when setting the saving throw DC for a ranger spell you cast, and when making an attack roll with one. Spell save DC equals 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your wisdom modifier. Spell attack modifier equals your proficiency bonus plus your wisdom modifier. Ranger archetype. At 3rd level, you choose an archetype that you strive to emulate, Hunter or Beastmaster, both detailed at the end of the class description. Your choice grants you features at 3rd level and again at 7th, 11th, and 15th level. Primeval awareness. Beginning at 3rd level, you can use your action and expend 1 ranger spell slot to focus your awareness on the region around you. For 1 minute per level of the spell slot you expend, you can sense whether the following types of creatures are present within 1 mile of you, or within up to 6 miles if you are in your favored terrain. Aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, and undead. This feature doesn't reveal the creature's location or number. Ability score improvement. When you reach 4th level, and again at 8th, 12th, 16th, and 19th level, you can increase 1 ability score of your choice by 2, or you can increase 2 ability scores of your choice by 1. As normal, you can't increase an ability score above 20 using this feature. Extra attack. Beginning at 5th level, you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Land's Stride. Starting at 8th level, moving through non-magical difficult terrain costs you no extra movement. You can also pass through non-magical plants without being slowed by them, and without taking damage from them if they have thorns, spines, or a similar hazard. In addition, you have advantage on saving throws against plants that are magically created or manipulated to impede movement, such as those created by the Entangle spell. Hide in plain sight. Starting at 10th level, you can spend 1 minute creating camouflage for yourself. You must have access to fresh mud, dirt, plant, soot, and other naturally occurring materials with which to create your camouflage. Once you are camouflaged in this way, you can try to hide by pressing yourself up against a solid surface, such as a tree or wall, that is at least as tall and wide as you are. You gain a +10 bonus to dexterity stealth checks as long as you remain there without moving or taking actions. Once you move or take an action or a reaction, you must camouflage yourself again to gain this benefit. Vanish. Starting at 14th level, you can use the hide action as a bonus action on your turn. Also, you can't be tracked by non-magical means unless you choose to leave a trail. Feral senses. At 18th level, you gain preternatural senses that help you fight creatures you can't see. When you attack a creature you can't see, your ability to see it doesn't impose disadvantage on your attack rolls against it. You are also aware of the location of any invisible creature within 30 feet of you, provided that the creature isn't hidden from you and you aren't blinded or deafened. Foe Slayer. At 20th level, you become an unparalleled hunter of your enemies. Once on each of your turns, you can add your wisdom modifier to the attack roll or the damage roll of an attack you make against one of your favored enemies. You can choose to use this feature before or after the roll, but before any effects of the roll are applied. Ranger archetypes. The ideal of the ranger has two classic expressions, the hunter and the beastmaster. Hunter. Emulating the hunter archetype means accepting your place as a bulwark between civilization and the terrors of the wilderness. As you walk the hunter's path, you learn specialized techniques for fighting the threats you face, from rampaging ogres and hordes of orcs to towering giants and terrifying dragons. Hunter's Prey. At 3rd level, you gain one of the following features of your choice. Colossus Slayer. Your tenacity can wear down the most potent foes. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, the creature takes an extra 1d8 damage if it's below its hit point maximum. You can deal this extra damage only once per turn. Giant Killer. When a large or larger creature within 5 feet of you hits or misses you with an attack, you can use your reaction to attack that creature immediately after its attack, provided that you can see the creature. Horde Breaker. Once on each of your turns when you make a weapon attack, you can make another attack with the same weapon against a different creature that is within 5 feet of the original target and within range of your weapon. Defensive Tactics. At 7th level, you gain one of the following features of your choice. Escape the Horde. Opportunity attacks against you are made with disadvantage. Multi-attack defense. When a creature hits you with an attack, you gain a +4 bonus to AC against all subsequent attacks made by that creature for the rest of the turn. Steel Will. You have advantage on saving throws against being frightened. Multi-attack. At 11th level, you gain one of the following features of your choice. Volley. You can use your action to make a ranged attack against any number of creatures within 10 feet of a point you can see within your weapon's range. You must have ammunition for each target, as normal, and you make a separate attack roll for each target. Whirlwind Attack. You can use your action to make a melee attack against any number of creatures within 5 feet of you with a separate attack roll for each target. Superior Hunter's Defense. At 15th level, you gain one of the following features of your choice. Evasion. When you are subjected to an effect, such as a red dragon's fiery breath or a lightning bolt spell that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw to only take half damage, you instead take no damage if you succeed on the saving throw and only half damage if you fail. Stand Against the Tide. When a hostile creature misses you with a melee attack, you can use your reaction to force that creature to repeat the same attack against another creature, other than itself, of your choice. Uncanny Dodge. When an attacker that you can see hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to halve the attack's damage against you. Beastmaster. The Beastmaster archetype embodies an extraordinary friendship between the ranger and a special beast. Ranger's Companion. At 3rd level, you gain a beast companion that accompanies you on your adventures and is trained to fight alongside you. Choose a beast that is no larger than medium and that has a challenge rating of 1/4 or lower. Appendix D presents statistics for the hawk, mastiff, and panther as examples. Add your proficiency bonus to the beast's AC, attack rolls, and damage rolls, as well as to any saving throws and skills it is proficient in. Its hit point maximum equals the hit point number in its stat block, or 4 times your ranger level, whichever is higher. Like any creature, it can spend hit dice during a short rest to regain hit points. The beast obeys your commands as best as it can. It takes its turn on your initiative. On your turn, you can verbally command the beast where to move, no action required by you. You can use your action to verbally command it to take the attack, dash, disengage, or help action. Once you have the extra attack feature, you can make one weapon attack yourself when you command the beast to take the attack action. If you don't issue a command, the beast takes the dodge action. If you are incapacitated or absent, the beast acts on its own, focusing on protecting you and itself. The beast never requires your command to use its reaction, such as when making an opportunity attack. While traveling through your favorite terrain with only the beast, you can move stealthily at a normal pace. If the beast dies, you can obtain a new companion by spending 8 hours magically bonding with a beast that isn't hostile to you and that meets the requirements. Exceptional Training. Beginning at 7th level, on any of your turns when your beast companion doesn't attack, you can use a bonus action to command the beast to take the dash, disengage, dodge, or help action on its turn. In addition, the beast's attacks now count as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage. Bestial Fury. Starting at 11th level, when you command your beast companion to take the attack action, the beast can make 2 attacks, or it can take the multi-attack action if it has that action. Share Spells. Beginning at 15th level, when you cast a spell targeting yourself, you can also affect your beast companion with the spell if the beast is within 30 feet of you. Rogue. Signaling for her companions to wait, a halfling creeps forward through the dungeon hall. She presses an ear to the door, then pulls out a set of tools and picks the lock in the blink of an eye. Then she disappears into the shadows as her fighter friend moves forward to kick the door open. A human lurks in the shadows of an alley while his accomplice prepares for her part in the ambush. When their target, a notorious slaver, passes the alleyway, the accomplice cries out. The slaver comes to investigate, and the assassin's blade cuts his throat before he can make a sound. Suppressing a giggle, a gnome waggles her fingers and magically lifts the key ring from the guard's belt. In a moment, the keys are in her hand, the cell doors open, and she and her companions are free to make their escape. Rogues rely on skill, stealth, and their foes' vulnerabilities to get the upper hand in any situation. They have a knack for finding the solution to just about any problem, demonstrating a resourcefulness and versatility that is the cornerstone of any successful adventuring party. Skill and precision. Rogues devote as much effort to mastering the use of a variety of skills as they do to perfecting their combat abilities, giving them a broad expertise that few other characters can match. Many rogues focus on stealth and deception, while others refine the skills that help them in a dungeon environment, such as climbing, finding and disarming traps, and opening locks. When it comes to combat, rogues prioritize cunning over brute strength. A rogue would rather make one precise strike, placing it exactly where the attack will hurt the target most, than wear an opponent down with a barrage of attacks. Rogues have an almost supernatural knack for avoiding danger, and a few learn magical tricks to supplement their abilities. A shady living. Every town and city has its share of rogues. Most of them live up to the worst stereotypes of the class, making a living as burglars, assassins, cut-purses, and con artists. Often these scoundrels are organized into thieves' guilds or crime families. Plenty of rogues operate independently, but even they sometimes recruit apprentices to help them in their scams and heists. A few rogues make an honest living as locksmiths, investigators, or exterminators, which can be a dangerous job in a world where dire rats and were-rats haunt the sewers. As adventurers, rogues fall on both sides of the law. Some are hardened criminals who decide to seek their fortune in treasure hoards, while others take up a life of adventure to escape from the law. Some have learned and perfected their skills with the explicit purpose of infiltrating ancient ruins and hidden crypts in search of treasure. Creating a rogue. As you create your rogue character, consider the character's relationship to the law. Do you have a criminal past or present? Are you on the run from the law or from an angry thieves guild master? Or did you leave your guild in search of bigger risks and bigger rewards? Is it greed that drives you in your adventures, or some other desire or ideal? What was the trigger that led you away from your previous life? Did a great con or heist gone terribly wrong cause you to reevaluate your career? Maybe you were lucky and a successful robbery gave you the coin you needed to escape the squalor of your life. Did wanderlust finally call you away from your home? Perhaps you suddenly found yourself cut off from your family or your mentor, and you had to find a new means of support. Or maybe you made a new friend, another member of your adventuring party, who showed you new possibilities for earning a living and employing your particular talents. Class features. Expertise. At first level, choose 2 of your skill proficiencies, or 1 of your skill proficiencies and your proficiency with thieves' tools. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make that uses either of the chosen proficiencies. At 6th level, you can choose 2 more of your proficiencies in skills or with thieves' tools to gain this benefit. Sneak attack. Beginning at first level, you know how to strike subtly and exploit a foe's distraction. Once per turn, you can deal an extra 1d6 damage to one creature you hit with an attack if you have advantage on the attack roll. The attack must use a finesse or a ranged weapon. You don't need advantage on the attack roll if another enemy of the target is within 5 feet of it, that enemy isn't incapacitated, and you don't have disadvantage on the attack roll. The amount of extra damage increases as you gain levels in this class, as shown in the sneak attack column of the rogue table. Thieves' Cant. During your rogue training, you learned Thieves' Cant, a secret mix of dialect, jargon, and code that allows you to hide messages in seemingly normal conversations. Only another creature that knows Thieves' Cant understands such messages. It takes 4 times longer to convey such a message than it does to speak the same idea plainly. In addition, you understand a set of secret signs and symbols used to convey short, simple messages, such as whether an area is dangerous or the territory of a thieves' guild, whether loot is nearby, or whether the people in the area are easy marks or will provide a safe house for thieves on the run. Cunning Action. Starting at 2nd level, your quick thinking and agility allow you to move and act quickly. You can take a bonus action on each of your turns in combat. This action can be used only to take the dash, disengage, or hide action. Roguish Archetype. At 3rd level, you choose an archetype that you emulate in the exercise of your rogue abilities. Thief, Assassin, or Arcane Trickster, all detailed at the end of the class description. Your archetype choice grants you features at 3rd level, and then again at 9th, 13th, and 17th level. Ability Score Improvement. When you reach 4th level, and again at 8th, 10th, 12th, 16th, and 19th level, you can increase one ability score of your choice by 2, or you can increase 2 ability scores of your choice by 1. As normal, you can't increase an ability score above 20 using this feature. Uncanny Dodge. Starting at 5th level, when an attacker that you can see hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to halve the attack's damage against you. Evasion. Beginning at 7th level, you can nimbly dodge out of the way of certain area effects, such as a red dragon's fiery breath or an ice storm spell. When you are subjected to an effect that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw to take only half damage, you instead take no damage if you succeed on the saving throw, and only half damage if you fail. Reliable Talent. By 11th level, you have refined your chosen skills until they approach perfection. Whenever you make an ability check that lets you add your proficiency bonus, you can treat a d20 roll of 9 or lower as a 10. Blind Sense. Starting at 14th level, if you are able to hear, you are aware of the location of any hidden or invisible creature within 10 feet of you. Slippery Mind. By 15th level, you have acquired greater mental strength. You gain proficiency in wisdom saving throws. Elusive. Beginning at 18th level, you are so evasive that attackers rarely gain the upper hand against you. No attack roll has advantage against you while you aren't incapacitated. Stroke of Luck. At 20th level, you have an uncanny knack for succeeding when you need to. If your attack misses a target within range, you can turn the miss into a hit. Alternatively, if you fail an ability check, you can treat the d20 roll as a 20. Once you use this feature, You can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. Roguish archetypes. Rogues have many features in common, including their emphasis on perfecting their skills, their precise and deadly approach to combat, and their increasingly quick reflexes. But different rogues steer those talents in varying directions, embodied by the rogue archetypes. Your choice of archetype is a reflection of your focus, not necessarily an indication of your chosen profession, but a description of your preferred techniques. Thief. You hone your skills in the larcenous arts. Burglars, bandits, cut purses, and other criminals typically follow this archetype, but so do rogues who prefer to think of themselves as professional treasure seekers, explorers, delvers, and investigators. In addition to improving your agility and stealth, you learn skills useful for delving into ancient ruins, reading unfamiliar languages, and using magic items you normally couldn't employ. Fast hands. Starting at 3rd level, you can use the bonus action granted by your cunning action to make a dexterity sleight of hand check, use your thieves' tools to disarm a trap or open a lock, or take the use an object action. Second story work. When you choose this archetype at 3rd level, you gain the ability to climb faster than normal. Climbing no longer costs you extra movement. In addition, when you make a running jump, the distance you cover increases by a number of feet equal to your dexterity modifier. Supreme Sneak. Starting at 9th level, you have advantage on a dexterity stealth check if you move no more than half your speed on the same turn. Use magic device. By 13th level, you have learned enough about the workings of magic that you can improvise the use of items even when they are not intended for you. You ignore all class, race, and level requirements on the use of magic items. Thieves' Reflexes. When you reach 17th level, you have become adept at laying ambushes and quickly escaping danger. You can take 2 turns during the first round of any combat. You take your first turn at your normal initiative and your second turn at your initiative -10. You can't use this feature when you are surprised. Assassin. You focus your training on the grim art of death. Those who adhere to this archetype are diverse. Hired killers, spies, bounty hunters, and even specially anointed priests trained to exterminate the enemies of their deity. Stealth, poison, and disguise help you eliminate your foes with deadly efficiency. Bonus proficiencies. When you choose this archetype at 3rd level, you gain proficiency with the Disguise Kit and the Poisoner's Kit. Assassinate. Starting at 3rd level, you are at your deadliest when you get the drop on your enemies. You have advantage on attack rolls against any creature that hasn't taken a turn in combat yet. In addition, any hit you score against a creature that is surprised is a critical hit. Infiltration Expertise. Starting at 9th level, you can unfailingly create false identities for yourself. You must spend 7 days and 25 GP to establish the history, profession, and affiliations for an identity. You can't establish an identity that belongs to someone else. For example, you might acquire appropriate clothing, letters of introduction, and official-looking certification to establish yourself as a member of a trading house from a remote city so you can insinuate yourself into the company of other wealthy merchants. Thereafter, if you adopt the new identity as a disguise, other creatures believe you to be that person until given an obvious reason not to. Imposter. At 13th level, you gain the ability to unerringly mimic another person's speech, writing, and behavior. You must spend at least 3 hours studying these 3 components of the person's behavior, listening to speech, examining handwriting, and observing mannerisms. Your ruse is indiscernible to the casual observer. If a wary creature suspects something is amiss, you have advantage on any charisma deception check you make to avoid detection. Death Strike. Starting at 17th level, you become a master of instant death. When you attack and hit a creature that is surprised, it must make a Constitution saving throw, DC 8, plus your dexterity modifier, plus your proficiency bonus. On a failed save, double the damage of your attack against the creature. Arcane Trickster. Some rogues enhance their fine-honed skills of stealth and agility with magic, learning tricks of enchantment and illusion. These rogues include pickpockets and burglars, but also pranksters, mischief makers, and a significant number of adventurers. Spellcasting. When you reach 3rd level, you gain the ability to cast spells. See Chapter 10 for the general rules of spellcasting, and Chapter 11 for the wizard spell list. Cantrips. You learn 3 cantrips, Mage Hand, and 2 other cantrips of your choice from the wizard spell list. You learn another wizard cantrip of your choice at 10th level. Spell slots. The Arcane Trickster spellcasting table shows how many spell slots you have to cast your wizard spells of 1st level and higher. To cast one of these spells, you must expend a slot of the spell's level or higher. You regain all expended spell slots when you finish a long rest. For example, if you know the 1st level spell Charm Person and have a 1st level and a 2nd level spell slot available, you can cast Charm Person using either slot. Spells known of 1st level and higher. You know 3 1st level wizard spells of your choice, 2 of which you must choose from the enchantment and illusion spells on the wizard spell list. The spells known column of the Arcane Trickster spellcasting table shows when you learn more wizard spells of 1st level or higher. Each of these spells must be an enchantment or illusion spell of your choice, and must be of a level for which you have spell slots. For instance, when you reach 7th level in this class, you can learn 1 new spell of 1st or 2nd level. The spells you learn at 8th, 14th, and 20th level can come from any school of magic. Whenever you gain a level in this class, you can replace one of the wizard spells you know with another spell of your choice from the wizard spell list. The new spell must be of a level for which you have spell slots, and it must be an enchantment or illusion spell, unless you're replacing the spell you gained at 8th, 14th, or 20th level. Spellcasting ability. Intelligence is your spellcasting ability for your wizard spells, since you learn your spells through dedicated study and memorization. You use your intelligence whenever a spell refers to your spellcasting ability. In addition, you use your intelligence modifier when setting the saving throw DC for a wizard spell you cast, and when making an attack roll with one. Spell save DC equals 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence modifier. Spell attack modifier equals your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence modifier. Mage Hand. I don't know how to pronounce this word. It seems like 2 French words. Légère de main, léger de main. Let me know in the comments how you're supposed to say that word in English. Starting at 3rd level, when you cast Mage Hand, you can make the spectral hand invisible, and you can perform the following additional tasks with it. You can stow one object the hand is holding in a container worn or carried by another creature. You can retrieve an object in a container worn or carried by another creature. You can use thieves' tools to pick locks and disarm traps at range. You can perform one of these tasks without being noticed by a creature if you succeed on a dexterity, sleight of hand check contested by the creature's wisdom perception check. In addition, you can use the bonus action granted by your cunning action to control the hand. Magical Ambush. Starting at 9th level, if you are hidden from a creature when you cast a spell on it, the creature has disadvantage on any saving throw it makes against the spell this turn. Versatile Trickster. At 13th level, you gain the ability to distract targets with your Mage Hand. As a bonus action on your turn, you can designate a creature within 5 feet of the spectral hand created by the spell. Doing so gives you advantage on attack rolls against the creature until the end of the turn. Spell Thief. At 17th level, you gain the ability to magically steal the knowledge of how to cast a spell from another spellcaster. Immediately after a creature casts a spell that targets you or includes you in its area of effect, you can use your reaction to force the creature to make a saving throw with its spellcasting ability modifier. The DC equals your spell save DC. On a failed save, you negate the spell's effect against you, and you steal the knowledge of the spell if it is at least 1st level and of a level you can cast. It doesn't need to be a wizard spell. For the next 8 hours, you know the spell and can cast it using your spell slots. The creature can't cast that spell until the 8 hours have passed. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Sorcerer. Golden eyes flashing, a human stretches out her hand and unleashes the dragon fire that burns in her veins. As an inferno rages around her foes, leathery wings spread from her back and she takes to the air. Long hair whipped by a conjured wind, a half-elf spreads his arms wide and throws his head back. Lifting him momentarily off the ground, a wave of magic surges up in him, through him, and out of him in a mighty blast of lightning. Crouching behind a stalagmite, a halfling points a finger at a charging troglodyte. A blast of fire springs from her finger to strike the creature. She ducks back behind the rock formation with a grin, unaware that her wild magic has turned her skin bright blue. Sorcerers carry a magical birthright conferred upon them by an exotic bloodline, some otherworldly influence, or exposed to unknown cosmic forces. One can't study sorcery as one learns a language, any more than one can learn to live a legendary life. No one chooses sorcery. The power chooses the sorcerer. Raw magic. Magic is a part of every sorcerer, suffusing body, mind, and spirit with a latent power that waits to be tapped. Some sorcerers wield magic that springs from an ancient bloodline infused with the magic of dragons. Others carry a raw, uncontrolled magic within them, a chaotic storm that manifests in unexpected ways. The appearance of sorcerers' powers is wildly unpredictable. Some draconic bloodlines produce exactly one sorcerer in every generation, but in other lines of descent, every individual is a sorcerer. Most of the time, the talents of sorcery appear as apparent flukes. Some sorcerers can't name the origin of their power, while others trace it to the strange events in their own lives. The touch of a demon, the blessing of a dryad at a baby's birth, or a taste of the water from a mysterious spring might spark the gift of sorcery. So too might the gift of a deity of magic, exposure to the elemental forces of the inner planes, or the maddening chaos of limbo, or a glimpse into the inner workings of reality. Sorcerers have no use for the spell books and ancient tomes of magic lore that wizards rely on, nor do they rely on a patron to grant their spells as warlocks do. By learning to harness and channel their own inborn magic, they can discover new and staggering ways to unleash that power. Unexplained powers. Sorcerers are rare in the world, and it's unusual to find a sorcerer who is not involved in the adventuring life in some way. People with magical powers seething in their veins soon discover that the power doesn't like to stay quiet. A sorcerer's magic wants to be wielded, and it has a tendency to spill out in unpredictable ways if it isn't called on. Sorcerers often have obscure or quixotic motivations driving them to adventure. Some seek a greater understanding of the magical force that infuses them, or the answer to the mystery of its origin. Others hope to find a way to get rid of it, or to unleash its full potential. Whatever their goals, sorcerers are every bit as useful to an adventuring party as wizards, making up for a comparative lack of breadth in their magical knowledge with enormous flexibility in using the spells they know. Creating a sorcerer. The most important question to consider when creating your sorcerer is the origin of your power. As a starting character, you'll choose an origin that ties to a draconic bloodline or the influence of wild magic, but the exact source of your power is up to you to decide. Is it a family curse passed down to you from distant ancestors? Or did some extraordinary event leave you blessed with inherent magic, but perhaps scarred as well? How do you feel about the magical power coursing through you? Do you embrace it, try to master it, or revel in its unpredictable nature? Is it a blessing or a curse? Did you seek it out, or did it find you? Did you have the option to refuse it? And do you wish you had? What do you intend to do with it? Perhaps you feel like you've been given this power from some lofty purpose, or you might decide that the power gives you the right to do what you want, to take what you want from those who lack such power. Perhaps your power links you to a powerful individual in the world, the fey creature that blessed you at birth, the dragon who put a drop of its blood in your veins, the lich who created you as an experiment, or the deity who chose you to carry this power. Class features. Spellcasting. An event in your past or in the life of a parent or ancestor left an indelible mark on you, infusing you with arcane magic. This font of magic, whatever its origin, fuels your spells. Cantrips. At first level, you know 4 cantrips of your choice from the Sorcerer spell list. You learn additional Sorcerer cantrips of your choice at higher levels, as shown in the Cantrips Known column of the Sorcerer table. Spell slots. The Sorcerer table shows how many spell slots you have to cast your Sorcerer spells of first level and higher. To cast one of these Sorcerer spells, you must expend a spell slot of the spell's level or higher. You regain all expended spell slots when you finish a long rest. Spells known of first level and higher. You know 2 first-level spells of your choice from the Sorcerer spell list. The Spells Known column of the Sorcerer table shows when you learn more Sorcerer spells of your choice. Each of these spells must be of a level for which you have spell slots. For instance, when you reach 3rd level in this class, you can learn 1 new spell of 1st or 2nd level. Additionally, when you gain a level in this class, you can choose one of the Sorcerer spells you know and replace it with another spell from the Sorcerer spell list, which also must be of a level for which you have spell slots. Spellcasting ability. Charisma is your spellcasting ability for your Sorcerer spells, since the power of your magic relies on your ability to project your will into the world. You use your Charisma whenever a spell refers to your spellcasting ability. In addition, you use your Charisma modifier when setting the saving throw DC for a Sorcerer spell you cast and when making an attack roll with one. Spell save DC equals 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your Charisma modifier. Spell attack modifier equals your proficiency bonus plus your Charisma modifier. Spellcasting focus. You can use an arcane focus as a spellcasting focus for your Sorcerer spells. Sorceress origin. Choose a Sorceress origin which describes the source of your innate magical power, draconic bloodline, or wild magic, both detailed at the end of the class description. Your choice grants you features when you choose it at 1st level and again at 6th, 14th, and 18th level. Font of Magic. At 2nd level, you tap into a deep wellspring of magic within yourself. This wellspring is represented by sorcery points, which allow you to create a variety of magical effects. Sorcery points. You have 2 sorcery points, and you gain more as you reach higher levels, as shown in the sorcery points column of the Sorcerer table. You can never have more sorcery points than shown on the table for your level. You regain all spent sorcery points when you finish a long rest. Flexible casting. You can use your sorcery points to gain additional spell slots or sacrifice spell slots to gain additional sorcery points. You learn other ways to use your sorcery points as you reach higher levels. Creating spell slots. You can transform unexpended sorcery points into 1 spell slot as a bonus action on your turn. The Creating Spell Slots table shows the cost of creating a spell slot of a given level. You can create spell slots no higher in level than 5th. Any spell slot you create with this feature vanishes when you finish a long rest. Converting a spell slot to sorcery points. As a bonus action on your turn, you can expend 1 spell slot and gain a number of sorcery points equal to the slot's level. Meta magic. At 3rd level, you gain the ability to twist your spells to suit your needs. You gain 2 of the following meta magic options of your choice. You gain another one at 10th and at 17th level. You can only use 1 meta magic option on a spell when you cast it, unless otherwise noted. Careful spell. When you cast a spell that forces other creatures to make a saving throw, you can protect some of those creatures from the spell's full force. To do so, you spend 1 sorcery point and choose a number of those creatures up to your Charisma modifier, minimum of 1 creature. A chosen creature automatically succeeds on its saving throw against the spell. Distant spell. When you cast a spell that has a range of 5 feet or greater, you can spend 1 sorcery point to double the range of the spell. When you cast a spell that has a range of touch, you can spend 1 sorcery point to make the range of the spell 30 feet. Empowered spell. When you roll damage for a spell, you can spend 1 sorcery point to re-roll a number of the damage dice up to your charisma modifier, minimum of 1. You must use the new rolls. You can use Empowered Spell even if you have already used a different metamagic option during the casting of the spell. Extended Spell. When you cast a spell that has a duration of 1 minute or longer, you can spend 1 sorcery point to double its duration to a maximum duration of 24 hours. Heightened Spell. When you cast a spell that forces a creature to make a saving throw to resist its effects, you can spend 3 sorcery points to give one target of the spell disadvantage on its first saving throw made against the spell. Quickened Spell. When you cast a spell that has a casting time of 1 action, you can spend 2 sorcery points to change the casting time to 1 bonus action for this casting. Subtle Spell. When you cast a spell, you can spend 1 sorcery point to cast it without any somatic or verbal components. Twinned Spell. When you cast a spell that targets only 1 creature and doesn't have a range of self, you can spend a number of sorcery points equal to the spell's level to target a second creature in range with the same spell. 1 sorcery point if the spell is a cantrip. To be eligible, a spell must be incapable of targeting more than 1 creature at the spell's current level. For example, Magic Missile and Scorching Ray aren't eligible, but Ray of Frost and Chromatic Orb are. Ability Score Improvement. When you reach 4th level, and again at 8th, 12th, 16th, and 19th level, you can increase 1 ability score of your choice by 2, or you can increase 2 ability scores of your choice by 1. As normal, you can't increase an ability score above 20 using this feature. Sorceress Restoration. At 20th level, you regain 4 expended sorcery points whenever you finish a short rest. Sorceress Origins. Different sorcerers claim different origins for their innate magic. Although many variations exist, most of these origins fall into 2 categories: a draconic bloodline and wild magic. Draconic bloodline. Your innate magic comes from the draconic mage that was mingled with your blood or that of your ancestors. Most often, sorcerers with this origin trace their descent back to a mighty sorcerer of ancient times who made a bargain with a dragon, or who might even have claimed a dragon parent. Some of these bloodlines are well established in the world, but most are obscure. Any given sorcerer could be the first of a new bloodline as a result of a pact or some other exceptional circumstance. Dragon Ancestor. At 1st level, you choose 1 type of dragon as your ancestor. The damage type associated with each dragon is used by features you gain later. Draconic Ancestry. Dragon and damage type. Black Dragon, Acid. Blue, Lightning. Brass, Fire. Bronze, Lightning. Copper, Acid. Gold, Fire. Green, Poison. Red, Fire. Silver, Cold. White, Cold. You can speak, read, and write Draconic. Additionally, whenever you make a charisma check when interacting with dragons, your proficiency bonus is doubled if it applies to the check. Draconic Resilience. As magic flows through your body, it causes physical traits of your dragon ancestors to emerge. At 1st level, your hit point maximum increases by 1, and increases by 1 again whenever you gain a level in this class. Additionally, Parts of your skin are covered by a thin sheen of dragon-like scales. When you aren't wearing armor, your AC equals 13 plus your dexterity modifier. Elemental Affinity. Starting at 6th level, when you cast a spell that deals damage of the type associated with your draconic ancestry, you can add your charisma modifier to 1 damage roll of that spell. At the same time, you can spend 1 sorcery point to gain resistance to that damage type for 1 hour. Dragon Wings. At 14th level, you gain the ability to sprout a pair of dragon wings from your back, gaining a flying speed equal to your current speed. You can create these wings as a bonus action on your turn. They last until you dismiss them as a bonus action on your turn. You can't manifest your wings while wearing armor unless the armor is made to accommodate them, and clothing not made to accommodate your wings might be destroyed when you manifest them. Draconic Presence. Beginning at 18th level, you can channel the dread presence of your dragon ancestor, causing those around you to become awestruck or frightened. As an action, you can spend 5 sorcery points to draw on this power and exude an aura of awe or fear, your choice, to a distance of 60 feet. For 1 minute, or until you lose concentration, as if you were casting a concentration spell, each hostile creature that starts its turn in this aura must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be charmed, if you choose awe, or frightened, if you choose fear, until the aura ends. A creature that succeeds on this saving throw is immune to your aura for 24 hours. Wild Magic. Your innate magic comes from the forces of chaos that underlie the order of creation. You might have endured exposure to raw magic, perhaps through a planar portal leading to Limbo, the elemental planes, or the far realm. Perhaps you were blessed by a fey being, or marked by a demon. Or your magic could be a fluke of your birth, with no apparent cause. However it came to be, this magic churns within you, waiting for any outlet. Wild Magic Surge. Starting when you choose this origin at 1st level, your spellcasting can unleash surges of untamed magic. Once per turn, the DM can have you roll a d20 immediately after you cast a sorcerer spell of 1st level or higher. If you roll a 1, roll on the Wild Magic Surge table to create a magical effect. If that effect is a spell, it is too wild to be affected by your metamagic, and if it normally requires concentration, it doesn't require concentration in this case. The spell lasts for its full duration. Tides of Chaos. Starting at 1st level, you can manipulate the forces of chance and chaos to gain advantage on 1 attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. Once you do so, you must finish a long rest before you can use this feature again. Any time before you regain the use of this feature, the DM can have you roll on the Wild Magic Surge table immediately after you cast a sorcerer spell of 1st level or higher. You then regain the use of this feature. Bend Luck. Starting at 6th level, you have the ability to twist fate using your wild magic. When another creature you can see makes an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw, you can use your reaction and spend 2 sorcery points to roll 1d4 and apply the number rolled as a bonus or penalty, your choice, to the creature's roll. You can do so after the creature rolls, but before any effects of the roll occur. Controlled Chaos. At 14th level, you gain a modicum of control over the surges of your wild magic. Whenever you roll on the Wild Magic Surge table, You can roll twice and use either number. Spell Bombardment. Beginning at 18th level, the harmful energy of your spells intensifies. When you roll damage for a spell and roll the highest number possible on any of the dice, choose one of those dice, roll it again, and add that roll to the damage. You can use this feature only once per turn. We will end there for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time. And of course, sweet dreams.